The atmosphere in Dushanbe's arena on May 23, 2025, was electric, charged with the anticipation of a fight that promised fireworks. On one side stood Albert Pagara, the seasoned Filipino fighter, carrying a record of 35 wins and 1 loss. While impressive, Pagara's career had faced questions about the depth of his opposition, but his victories over notable names and multiple intercontinental titles left no doubt about his skill and ring IQ. His movement was sharp, his timing precise, and his experience in handling high-pressure bouts gave him a confident air. Opposite him, Bakhodur Usmonov, the undefeated Tajik boxer with a 9-0 record, exuded youthful energy and hunger. A bronze medalist at the 2023 World Championships and a 2-time Olympic qualifier, Usmonov's amateur pedigree had honed his technique, footwork, and mental toughness, making him a formidable opponent for even a veteran like Pagara. The pre-fight ceremonies intensified the moment, as the International Boxing Association anthem and the national anthems of the Philippines and Tajikistan played in the arena, highlighting the stakes and national pride involved. Pagara entered with measured confidence, knowing his experience was an asset, while Usmonov soaked in the energy of a home crowd, his focus unwavering. Fighters' contrasting styles were immediately clear. Pagara patient, looking to read openings, and Usmonov aggressive, seeking to dictate pace with his jab and movement. As the bell rang for the first round, the narrative of experience versus hunger began to unfold, and the audience sensed that this fight could end in a defining moment early or escalate into a strategic chess match over several rounds. From the opening bell, Usmonov asserted control with his jab, probing Pagara's defenses and establishing mid-range dominance. His height and reach advantage allowed him to maintain distance, while combinations to the body and head forced Pagara to adapt. The Filipino veteran remained composed, slipping punches and looking for countering opportunities, but Usmonov's relentless activity and smart footwork made it difficult to find rhythm. Early exchanges showed Usmonov's ability to vary angles, using lateral movement to create openings while staying defensively responsible. Each punch was calculated. Even when he swung with power, it was precise and disciplined. Pagara's strategy in the first 2 rounds seemed to focus on conserving energy, recognizing that Usmonov's pace could be taxing over time. He aimed to wait for a moment of overcommitment, a slight opening where he could exploit Usmonov's eagerness. Despite this, the Tajik fighter's accumulation of punches began to wear on the veteran, and subtle signs of stress appeared as Pagara's guard tightened and his head movement became more cautious. The crowd's energy intensified with every clean combination from Usmonov, amplifying the psychological advantage. The first 2 rounds clearly belonged to the home fighter, with Pagara surviving largely due to experience and defensive skills rather than dominance. Fight's narrative was emerging. Usmonov's youth, speed, and technical precision were challenging Pagara's seasoned approach. Analysts could see that if Usmonov maintained this pace and continued to exploit openings around Pagara's guard, a knockout was a real possibility. The early story of the fight was no longer just about contrasting records. It was about momentum, adaptation, and the accumulation of tactical advantages that could tip the bout in favor of the Tajik star. As the 3rd round began, the stakes grew higher. Pagara realized he needed to take calculated risks, or the fight would slip further out of reach. He stepped forward with more aggression, attempting to find gaps in Usmonov's defenses, but the Tajik boxer had already established his rhythm. Usmonov's lateral movement, combined with a jab that snapped back Pagara's head, disrupted timing and prevented the veteran from mounting a consistent offensive. Usmonov began targeting the body with sharp combinations, subtly draining Pagara's stamina while setting up opportunities for headshots. The Filipino's attempts to pin Usmonov to the ropes were mostly unsuccessful, as Usmonov's ring intelligence allowed him to pivot, create angles, and avoid dangerous exchanges. Midway through the round, Usmonov's precision started to tell a clear story. He landed a combination that shook Pagara, demonstrating both power and accuracy. The crowd erupted, sensing the turning point approaching. Pagara tried to recover, clinching briefly and retreating to reset, but Usmonov maintained pressure, throwing a flurry of punches that tested both the guard and resilience of the veteran. Observers noted that Usmonov's timing, combined with his ability to vary punch placement, was creating cumulative damage. Pagara, despite his experience, was on the defensive more than he preferred, and it became evident that Usmonov's youth, preparation, and strategic execution were dictating the pace of the fight. By the end of the 3rd round, the narrative had shifted decisively. The home fighter was in command, controlling the ring, the tempo, and the exchanges. Pagara's attempts to respond had been sporadic, and the cumulative effect of Usmonov's combinations suggested that the fight might not last all 10 rounds. The story unfolding in Dushanbe was one of a rising star challenging an experienced champion and winning the psychological battle before a single knockout punch had landed. The defining moment came late in the 3rd round. Usmonov's strategy of sustained pressure, varied angles, and accurate body-head combinations finally overwhelmed Pagara. Trapped in the corner, Pagara could only absorb punches, his defensive skills insufficient against the relentless volume. One right hand followed by a left hook to the body created a ripple effect, and soon Pagara stumbled. The referee's count reached 10, signaling a dramatic and emphatic knockout victory for Usmonov. Home crowd erupted in jubilation, celebrating not only a win, but the crowning of a new champion on Tajik soil. The knockout was the culmination of a carefully executed strategy. Usmonov had not relied solely on power, but had instead built momentum through precise combinations, intelligent positioning, and superior timing. Pagara's experience delayed the inevitable, but could not overcome the accumulation of damage and Usmonov's tactical dominance. Victory was a statement. A young, disciplined, and technically proficient fighter could rise and claim glory, even against a seasoned professional with a long record of success. Analysts praised Usmonov's composure, decision-making, and ability to maintain a measured yet aggressive approach throughout the early rounds. The post-fight atmosphere was electric. Fans cheered every corner of the arena, while Usmonov celebrated a victory that would elevate his status internationally. The IBA.PRO lightweight gold title was now his, a symbol of achievement and a stepping stone for further challenges in the global boxing scene. Beyond the title, the fight marked a turning point in Tajikistan boxing history, inspiring young athletes and demonstrating the power of preparation, strategy, and perseverance in achieving championship success. Following the victory, the award ceremony underscored the magnitude of Usmonov's achievement. The International Boxing Association president presented the WBA gold belt, while cameras captured the joy, pride, and emotion of a fighter who had executed his plan flawlessly. The triumph was more than a personal milestone. It symbolized the growing prominence of Tajikistan in the professional boxing world. Usmonov's performance resonated not only with local fans, but with the international community, showcasing a blend of technique, ring IQ, and composure that could challenge global contenders in future bouts. Usmonov's journey to this point combined amateur brilliance with a carefully managed professional career. The bronze medal at the World Championships, Olympic qualifier victories, and undefeated professional streak culminated in a moment that validated years of dedication. Analysts highlighted the strategic elements of the fight: the use of reach, consistent body attacks, lateral movement, and the psychological pressure applied from the opening bell. Pagara, despite his experience and previous accolades, served as a measuring stick, demonstrating that a well-prepared young fighter could neutralize veteran advantages with intelligence and aggression. The impact of the fight extended beyond the ring. For Tajikistan, it was a statement of capability in a sport often dominated by traditional powerhouses. For boxing fans, it was a reminder that strategic mastery and athletic excellence could produce early, emphatic victories. Usmonov's knockout in round 3 exemplified how a combination of preparation, focus, and adaptability could achieve decisive results. As the crowd celebrated and the new champion held the WBA gold belt aloft, the night became a defining chapter in boxing history, setting the stage for future battles and cementing Usmonov's reputation as a rising force in the lightweight division.